In the beginning, before the world wore the colors of dawn or night, there was only the quiet breath of existence of vast silence where time was but a whisper and space a gentle dream. Amid this endless stillness, Prometheus stood alone, a watcher in the shadow of the gods, his heart a forge of restless fire. He was a keeper of secrets, the silent flame flickering beneath the calm surface of eternity. Not a flame of destruction, but of quiet awakening, a spark destined to stir the sleeping embers of humanity. For in the depths of mortal clay, hidden like a gem beneath stone, lay a fire yearning to be kindled. The gods, radiant and distant, held the sacred fire tightly, wrapped in veils of thunder and lightning, fearing its power might escape their grasp. Yet Prometheus, with eyes like molten gold and spirit woven from both earth and sky, dreamed of a world where light would not be hoarded but shared, a world where the spark could leap from his hands to the hearts of men. So, in the hush before the dawn, he stole the fire soft as a whisper, bright as hope. A gift carried not in roar or blaze, but in the quiet pulse of possibility. This was the silent flame, a sacred promise cradled in shadow, waiting to breathe life into cold stone and shadowed forests. As the fire touched the earth, the world sighed awake. Mountains wore crowns of glowing embers, rivers shimmered with newfound light. And in the eyes of men, a spark flickered, an ember of courage, curiosity, and creation. Yet with this gift came a truth unseen, that every flame casts a shadow, and every light a cost. The fire that warms also burns, the gift that frees also binds. Prometheus knew this, but the silent promise was worth the price. For in the fire's glow, humanity would find its voice not in thunder or violence, but in whispered dreams and quiet revolutions, in the soft shaping of stars from clay. And so the spark kindled, unseen but eternal, the silent flame that burns within us all. The spark, once given, did not roar or blaze like the heavens feared. It settled gently, like morning dew on the petals of a fragile bloom, unseen by many but felt deep within the marrow of humankind. From the quiet corners of the earth, the flame whispered to those who dared to listen, the dreamers, the builders, the seekers of light. It awakened hands to shape clay and stone, eyes to trace the curve of the stars, and hearts to weave stories beneath the canopy of night. In villages kissed by dawn, where the world still held its breath, children gazed at the faint glow and felt a stirring, a call to something greater. It was not a voice loud enough to command, but a silent invitation, like a breeze carrying the scent of rain across a parched land. The fire that Prometheus gifted was not merely a blaze to warm the flesh or light the night, it was an echo, a resonance that traveled through time and space, carried on the breath of humanity's unfolding story. In the soft glow of that fire, ancient hands began to craft tools not just of survival, but of expression, carving stone into symbols, weaving threads into tales. Each spark was a word, each ember a thought, and the fire grew into a language beyond sound, a silent dialogue between the soul and the stars. The flame danced quietly in the hearts of humble homes and the grand halls of kingdoms yet to rise. It whispered secrets of creation, urging men and women to look beyond what was, toward what could be. It was the breath before a song, the pause before a dance, the stillness where dreams gather strength. And with every flicker, the world shifted slowly, patiently, like a river carving new paths through ancient stone. Mountains remained steadfast, but rivers dared to wander, and life found ways to bloom in unexpected places. But fire is a living thing, beautiful and fragile, fierce and tender. It demands care, respect, and courage. For the same spark that illuminates can consume, the same warmth that nurtures can burn. Prometheus's gift taught humanity this balance, the dance of light and shadow, creation and restraint. And in this dance, the silent flame became a mirror, reflecting the endless potential and the delicate fragility woven into the fabric of human spirit. From the quiet flicker of that first stolen fire, 1,000 stories began, stories of discovery, of love, of loss, of courage whispered in the stillness. The flame was a silent song, eternal and ever-changing, carried in the hearts of those brave enough to hold it. The flame that once lay hidden beneath the quiet earth now breathed life into the hands of humanity. These hands, unshaped by fate but guided by the silent fire, reached out not with force, but with gentle intention to shape the world anew. In the warmth of the firelight, the first sparks of creation flickered. Hand molded clay into vessels to hold water, woven reeds into shelters that kissed the sky, and struck flint against stone, birthing the song of sparks. Each creation was a testament to the flame within, an outward echo of the inner light Prometheus had gifted. Yet this shaping was not hurried or careless. It was a sacred dance between fire and flesh, a slow unfolding of wisdom, patience, and reverence. For the fire taught more than power taught balance. The hands that shape must listen, must feel the pulse beneath the surface, must honor the silent rhythm beating in all things. And so, from the smallest ember grew civilization's towers of thought and fields of hope. Songs were sung, stories told, and dreams shared beneath the watchful eyes of stars that seemed to burn brighter in response. With every spark that ignited in human hearts, the silent flame wove a delicate dance between shadows and light, an eternal rhythm that shaped the unfolding story of existence. Light without shadow is but emptiness, and shadow without light, a void. Together, they compose the breath of life, the pulse of growth. Prometheus's gift was not to erase the dark, but to teach humanity the grace of balance, the art of walking gently between the two. In this dance, courage was born, not the roar of defiance, but the quiet strength to face uncertainty, to kindle hope where none seemed possible. The flame illuminated paths unseen, revealing not only the world's beauty but also the fragility hidden in its depths. As the fire flickered in the hearts of villages and the minds of thinkers, a new light grew, one that kindled empathy, wisdom, and the yearning to understand. It whispered to the soul that true power lies not in domination, but in harmony. The silent flame burned in the eyes of those who listened, the healers who mended broken bodies and spirits, the artists who painted dreams with color and sound, the wanderers who sought new horizons with open hearts. Yet the flame also cast long shadows, questions of responsibility, sacrifice, and the cost of knowledge. For every light must be tended, every ember watched, lest it fade or consume. Prometheus watched too, his spirit intertwined with the eternal dance. Bound yet free, he saw in the silent flame the reflection of his own sacrifice, an offering not of chains or pain, but of hope and endless possibility. And so the dance continues, a timeless song of fire and shadow, light and silence, weaving through the ages in the hearts of those who carry the silent flame. The silent flame is not merely a flicker upon the hearth. It is the breath of creation itself, a gentle wind stirring the canvas of existence. From this breath, worlds awaken, ideas take flight, and the infinite tapestry of life begins to weave itself anew. Each breath carries with it the essence of Prometheus's gift, the courage to begin, the strength to endure, and the wisdom to transform. It is a breath shared between the earth and sky, the known and the unknown, the seen and the unseen. In the quiet moments between heartbeats, the breath whispers truths that words cannot capture, the tender murmur of beginnings, the sacred pulse of possibility. It is here that the fire truly lives, in the spaces where silence and motion entwine. The hands that shape, the minds that dream, and the hearts that hope are all moved by this breath, and invisible current guiding the dance of creation. It stirs the seed beneath the soil, the spark in the artist's eye, the question on the traveler's lips. Prometheus's gift is this breath, this silent flame, this eternal spark, a reminder that from stillness arises movement, from darkness blooms light, and from the quiet heart of fire, life itself takes flight. In the soft light before the first morning song, there lives a weaver, an unseen hand threading strands of hope through the fabric of night. This weaver is neither mortal nor god, but the silent flame itself, crafting dawn from shadows and dreams. Each thread is a whisper, a promise woven into the tapestry of time. It is the spark that kindles curiosity, the ember that fuels courage, the glow that warms the cold edges of despair. Through these threads, the world is reborn, again and again, in endless cycles of becoming. The weaver's loom is the heart of humanity, beating steady beneath the weight of centuries. With every pulse, the silent flame weaves new pattern songs of creation, rebellion, love, and quiet revolution. The threads shimmer with colors unseen, stories yet untold. And though the world may sometimes seem cloaked in shadow, the weave of dawn is never broken. It carries the light forward, a silent promise that even in the darkest hours, the fire burns on soft, steady, eternal. Prometheus's gift is this: weave the endless dance of night into day, shadow into light, silence into song. It is a legacy of hope, a flame passed hand to hand, heart to heart, through the ages. The flame-bearer's journey was not marked by clamor or conquest, but thy footsteps soft as falling leaves, each one a quiet act of rebellion against the shadows of ignorance and fear. In a world still learning to breathe with fire, this path was both fragile and fierce. The flame was a whisper carried on the wind, reaching the ears of those who listened not with their bodies alone, but with their souls. It was in the gentle shaping of tools, the sharing of stories, the kindling of ideas that dared to challenge the silence. Through fields touched by dawn's first light and valleys where mist still clung to the earth, the flame-bearer moved in, emissary of hope and change. Not by raising swords or storms, but by lighting the hearts of the hesitant, the curious, and the dreamers. Each spark ignited 1,000 more, and the quiet revolution grew, an unseen current beneath the surface of the waking world. It was a revolution not of noise, but of awakening, not of battle, but of becoming. Prometheus's gift was alive in every flicker, a testament that the greatest fires often burn brightest in the stillest places, where silence holds space for transformation. And so, the path of quiet revolution stretched onward, endless as the stars, gentle as the dawn, and unstoppable as the fire within. As the flame-bearer walked the ancient paths, the silent flame began to weave its way into the fabric of the world, stirring hearts and minds beyond the reach of gods and rulers. Like dawn's gentle light, it gathered quietly but inexorably, drawing together those who felt the call of something new, something greater. These were the seekers, the artisans, the storytellers, each touched by the spark in their own way. They came from places where shadows lingered longest, bringing with them questions, hopes, and dreams folded carefully like fragile paper cranes. Together, they formed a tapestry of light, threads intertwined by the silent flame's soft glow. In their union, the fire grew stronger, not with the roar of battle, but with the warmth of shared purpose. In workshops and quiet corners, by flickering fires and under starlit skies, they crafted not just tools or tales, but the very future itself. Each whisper, each brushstroke, each note sung into the night was a thread in the endless weave of becoming. And though the gods watched from their thrones of storm and thunder, the flame burned beyond their grasp, free, resilient, eternal. Prometheus's gift was no longer his alone. It lived in the hearts of many, a light that would never be extinguished, a silent flame guiding humanity toward its dawn. As the gathering light grew, so too did the need for guardians, those chosen not by birth or power, but by the quiet strength of their hearts and the clarity of their vision. These were the keepers of the silent flame, entrusted to nurture its fire and protect its fragile promise. They were not warriors clad in armor, but stewards of wisdom and compassion. Their weapons were patience, their shields understanding. With gentle hands, they tended the flame, ensuring it would not falter in the winds of doubt or the storms of fear. The guardians walked among the people, teaching that fire was a trust, a living pulse that must be fed with care. They spoke in stories and parables, weaving lessons of balance between light and shadow, creation and restraint. In their presence, the flame grew steady, no longer a flicker of rebellion, but a beacon of hope and harmony. The silent flame became a living song, a quiet anthem sung beneath the canopy of stars. Prometheus watched from afar, his spirit bound yet free, knowing that the gift he had given was blossoming beyond his chains. The silent flame, once stolen in shadow, now burned bright, an eternal spark lighting the path of humanity's becoming. No flame burns without trial. The silent fire, though gentle and steadfast, faced storms that sought to smother its light. Doubt crept in like a cold wind, whispering fears that the gift was too fragile, too dangerous, too much for mortal hands to bear. The world, ever shifting between shadow and light, challenged the flame with moments of silence and darkness. Questions arose. Could this fire survive the harsh winds of greed and ignorance? Would the flame ignite destruction or creation? The guardians, steadfast and serene, stood firm in the face of these trials. They reminded those who carried the flame that true strength is born not in the absence of fear, but in the courage to kindle light despite it. Through whispered prayers, steady hands, and hearts bound by hope, the silent flame endured. It transformed trials into lessons, shadows into shapes, and silence into song. Prometheus's gift, tested but unbroken, continued to burn an eternal flame of resilience, illuminating the path not just for those who carry it, but for all who seek the dawn beyond the night. In the quiet chambers of the soul, the silent flame found its most sacred home, the heart's resonance. It was here, beyond the reach of thunder and chains, that the true power of Prometheus's gift blossomed. The flame was not a blaze that scorched or consumed, but a steady warmth that nurtured growth and understanding. It sang a song of connection, binding one heart to another in a dance of light and shadow, of giving and receiving. This resonance echoed in the laughter of children, in the kindness of strangers, and in the quiet moments when a single candle could hold back the night. It was the spark that kindled empathy, the ember that fueled compassion, the gentle glow that warmed even the coldest of places. Those who listened closely heard the flame's silent music, a melody that transcended words, a harmony woven through the fabric of being. It was a reminder that every act of love, every gesture of hope, was a thread in the endless tapestry of light. Prometheus's gift lived on not in firestorms or thunderclaps, but in this quiet resonance, a sacred flame burning softly within the hearts of all who choose to carry it. In the heart of the world lies a garden, neither wholly bright nor fully dark, a place where shadows and light entwine like ancient lovers, forever dancing beneath the endless sky. This garden is the mirror of the silent flame, a living testament to the balance Prometheus's gift demands. Here, the flame grows not by burning away the darkness, but by weaving with it a delicate thread, stitching together the tapestry of existence. Flowers bloom in twilight hues, and every leaf holds the memory of both sun and shade. The garden teaches that creation is a song sung in harmony with the night, that beauty often springs from the soil of contrast. It reminds those who tend the flame that light without shadow is hollow, and shadow without light is lost. Those who wander here come seeking wisdom, the silent flame's lessons whispered in the rustle of leaves and the gentle hum of unseen wings. They learn that the path to illumination is not a straight road, but a spiral dance, circling ever inward to the heart. Prometheus's gift blossoms here in the garden, a sacred flame cradled by shadow and light, eternal and ever-renewing. From the fertile soil of the garden of shadows and light, the silent flame planted its most precious gift, a seed. This seed was no ordinary sprout, but a promise, fragile yet full of boundless potential, waiting to break the earth and reach toward the sun. The seed of tomorrow carried within it all the lessons of the flame, the courage to grow amidst uncertainty, the grace to bend without breaking, and the quiet strength to illuminate the path for those who would come after. Nurtured by the breath of hope and watered by the tears of patience, the seed began to stir. Its roots reached deep into the earth's memory, while its leaves stretched eagerly toward the sky's endless promise. This seed was a symbol, a living metaphor for humanity's journey with fire. From small beginnings, great things arise. From silent sparks, roaring forests of light may one day bloom. Prometheus's gift was embodied in this seed, a beacon of what could be, held delicately in the hands of those brave enough to tend it. The seed of tomorrow swayed gently in the breath of the world, carried on the whisper of winds that danced through valleys and over mountains. These winds were messengers carrying the silent flame's promise far beyond the sight of those who first nurtured it. The winds spoke in voices both soft and urgent, weaving through the fabric of time like threads of silver light. They told tales of hope born in quiet moments, of courage found in stillness, and of a fire that did not consume but kindled. Those who heard the whisper felt a stirring deep within, an awakening of something lost and yet always present. The silent flame was calling, inviting all who dared to listen to join the endless dance of becoming. With every breath the winds carried, the seed of tomorrow grew stronger, rooted not just in earth, but in the hearts of those who believed in the power of the silent flame. Prometheus's gift traveled on the wine's ever-moving, ever-alive and eternal breath of creation, forever shaping the dawn. Begin with a slow aerial shot at dawn, soft golden light spilling over a quiet village and surrounding forests, symbolizing new beginnings. Transition to close-ups of hands gently holding small glowing flames, embers that pulse with warmth and life. Show diverse faces of people, elders, children, artists, healers, and wanderers, each illuminated by the gentle glow of their personal flame. Include scenes of light bearers walking through shadowed paths, forests, mountains, and villages carrying lanterns that softly light the way. Capture moments of kindness and connection. A light bearer sharing warmth with a child. An artist painting by firelight. A healer tending wounds under a starry sky. Visualize the flames multiplying subtly, spreading light across dark landscapes, symbolizing hope growing quietly but powerfully. Use soft, uplifting background music with gentle piano and strings to evoke warmth and inspiration. Overlay poetic text quotes from the story, such as, "From the silent flame, the light bearers rise. Each flame a thread in the endless dance of hope, guiding the way through shadow and light." The silent flame, once a solitary spark, now rippled through the hearts of many, sending echoes across the vast expanse of time. Each echo was a promise, soft yet unyielding, a testament to the resilience of hope and the power of quiet courage. These echoes stirred in the wines, threading through forests and mountains, weaving into the laughter of children and the whispered dreams of the night. They carried the stories of light bearers, guardians, and those who dared to tend the flame in the darkest hours. The promise within each echo was simple yet profound, that no shadow is endless, no silence absolute, and no flame without the breath of many hearts to sustain it. In the stillness between breaths, the echoes merged into a chorus, a symphony of voices bound by a shared purpose. It was a call to awaken, to remember, and to carry forward the gift that Prometheus once dared to give. And so the silent flame grew ever brighter, its echoes promising a dawn where light and shadow dance in harmony, and humanity walks boldly into the future, guided by the eternal spark. Beyond the reach of present sight, the horizon stretched an endless canvas brushed with the hues of dawn and possibility. It was there, at the meeting place of earth and sky, that the silent flame whispered its greatest promise. The horizon was not just a line to chase, but a symbol of endless becoming. A place where every step forward carried the weight of dreams, yet realized. It beckoned those who carried the flame to journey beyond fear and doubt, toward the unknown with steady hearts. Each light bearer, each guardian, felt the pull of that distant glow, as silent summons woven deep into their souls. It was the promise of growth, transformation, and the unbreakable bond between the fire within and the vastness beyond. As the first rays of the new day kissed the earth, the flame burned with renewed vigor, an eternal spark lighting the path into the unfolding future. Prometheus's gift was not a destination, but a journey, one without end, where the horizon itself became a beacon of hope, inviting all who dared to dream. The journey toward the horizon was not without its contrasts, the dance of shadows and light weaving through every step. Where the flame burned brightest, the shadows stretched long, reminding all who carried it of the delicate balance between illumination and obscurity. This dance was ancient, timeless, a rhythm set by the very pulse of existence. It taught that light without shadow is incomplete, just as shadow without light is lost. Together, they spun a story of depth and dimension, a sacred choreography written in the language of fire. The light bearers moved with grace within this dance, learning to honor both the flame's warmth and the shadow's cool embrace. In doing so, they found strength not in the absence of darkness, but in the harmony between the two. In the stillness of a quiet moment, the silent flame revealed its deepest secret, the mirror of the soul. This mirror was not made of glass or metal, but of reflection and truth, where the light within met the shadows held inside. Looking into this mirror, each bearer saw not only their own image, but the vastness of their inner world, the hopes, fears, and dreams interwoven like threads of flame and shadow. It was a place of honesty and courage, where the silent flame kindled self-awareness. The mirror taught that to nurture the fire without, one must first tend the fire within. It was a journey inward as much as outward, a sacred dialogue between heart and flame. In embracing this truth, the light bearers found new strength and power to face their own darkness and ignite the light of understanding and compassion. Prometheus's gift was more than a flame to carry. It was a reflection to behold a silent promise that every soul holds the spark of eternal fire within. Beyond the lands touched by fire and light, hidden beneath veils of mist and time, lies the forgotten realm, a place where silence lingers thick, and shadows hold stories long forgotten. It is here the flame bearers must journey next, led by whispers of an ancient truth awaiting rebirth. The air is heavy with mystery, the ground soft beneath weary feet. Trees stretch tall like silent sentinels, their leaves murmuring secrets in a language older than words. A dim glow neither flame nor shadow guides the travelers deeper into the heart of the realm. Here, the silent flame faces its greatest test, to awaken light where silence has reigned too long, to breathe life into echoes lost, and to kindle hope where despair once took root. The path twists and turns, woven with riddles and reflections, each step a dance between fear and courage, doubt and faith. In this forgotten place, the flame's true power is revealed not in conquest, but in the quiet act of remembering. And as the flame bearers press onward, the realm itself begins to stir, responding to the call of fire born in silence. Above the forgotten realm, heavy clouds began to gather thick, swirling masses that blotted out the sky like a shroud. The air crackled with the silent promise of change, and the world seemed to hold its breath beneath the looming storm. The flame bearers looked up, their lanterns flickering softly against the growing darkness. The clouds were not just weather, they were a mirror of the struggle within, the gathering tension between shadow and light. As thunder whispered in the distance and the first drops fell like tears from the heavens, the silent flame flared bright in defiance, an unwavering beacon amidst the storm's growing roar. With every step forward, the clouds thickened, wrapping the realm in a velvet night broken only by the steady glow of hope. The storm was both challenge and cleansing, a dance of destruction and renewal. The storm arrived not with sudden fury, but with a patient, deliberate hand washing the world in wind and rain, drumming against the earth like the heartbeat of the sky. Lightning traced silver veins across the clouds, illuminating the path ahead for only a moment before darkness reclaimed it. The flame bearers moved as one, their lanterns swaying like constellations walking the earth. Every gust tested their grip, every torrent threatened to drown the fire, but still the flames endured. They cupped their hands around the light, shielding it as one would shield a child from harm. In the roar of the wind, they heard voices, not warnings, but songs. Old songs carried from the beginning of time, telling of storms that had come before and flames that had survived them. And then, as swiftly as it had begun, the storm softened. The clouds thinned, the rain became a gentle mist, and a pale moon emerged, painting the wet earth in silver. The flame bearers looked to one another, the storm behind them, the path ahead washed clean. The silent flame had not merely survived, it had grown stronger. At dawn, the flame bearers reached the edge of a river so still, it seemed made of glass. The storm's tears had filled it to the brim, and its surface mirrored the sky with flawless precision, as if the heavens themselves had bent down to rest upon the earth. Each step toward the water felt like stepping into a memory not their own, but the memory of the world. In its depths, shadows and light danced together, shaping images of what had been and what might yet come. The silent flame reflected there was not the one they carried in their hands, but the one they carried in their hearts, bigger, brighter, untouched by wind or rain. It was as if the river whispered, "What you protect, protects you in return." One by one, they knelt, touching the mirrored surface. Ripples spread like gentle laughter, breaking the illusion of perfection, reminding them that even beauty needs movement, and even stillness longs to be stirred. As they crossed, the river seemed to part willingly, cradling their steps with liquid light. When they reached the far bank, each flame shone a little differently, warmer, wiser, more alive. The river of glass was behind them, but a part of it now flowed within. Beyond the river of glass, the path dissolved into a maze of half-formed trails, some ending in air, others curling back upon themselves like forgotten thoughts. It was here they met the keeper. He stood at a crossroads that was not truly a crossroads, robed in the color of horizons neither day nor night. His eyes were like old lanterns, their glow dim yet steady, holding the patience of centuries. "I keep the roads that are not yet ready to be walked," he said, his voice like the turning of ancient pages. "Some paths are seeds, some are ghosts, yours." He steadied their flames, is both. They stood before the two roads, one narrow and bright as a blade of sunlight, the other wide and shadowed, hurling into the unknown. The keeper waited, saying nothing. The silence felt alive, as if the roads themselves were listening. At last, the youngest of the bearers stepped forward, holding the silent flame high. Without a word, she walked toward the narrow path of light. One by one, the others followed. But the moment the last foot left the crossroads, the path shifted beneath them like dissolving into mist, stone into water. They realized, too late, that they had not chosen the path had chosen them. Mist rose thick around their knees, cool and silver, blurring the horizon. The air tasted of rain not yet fallen. Somewhere beyond the veil, shapes moved as seen, like thoughts they had forgotten to think. And through it all, the flame burned on, now casting not just light but faint ripples into the mist, as if it were a stone dropped into a still pond. Each ripple revealed fragments of possible futures, shimmering like reflections on the river of glass. Behind them, the keeper's voice echoed faintly. "Some journeys do not begin with a step, but with a surrender." The mist curled around them like a living thing, soft yet insistent, carrying scents of rain-soaked earth and flowers that had never grown in their world. Each step forward made the ground feel less like stone, more like memory. At first, they thought the shapes in the fog were trees or rocks, but as they drew closer, the shapes took form faces. Not flesh and bone, but outlines drawn from light and shadow, gazing at the bearers with quiet recognition. One figure reached out, its hand woven from strands of mist. When its fingertips brushed the flame, visions bloomed in the air, moments from each bearer's life, scenes they had hidden from themselves. A laughter long buried, a regret never spoken, a promise left unfinished. The mist was not here to confuse them, it was here to remember for them. The youngest bearer realized that every wisp of fog was a fragment of someone's forgotten truth, drifting until the flame called it home. The more they walked, the heavier their lanterns became, not from weight, but from the quiet gravity of all these gathered stories. Somewhere ahead, through the shimmering veil, they saw a glow brighter than any they had known. It pulsed like a heartbeat, calling them deeper into the mist that now felt less like a danger, and more like a welcome. The glow ahead grew stronger, not harsh but warm, like the memory of a home they had never known yet somehow longed for. As the mist thinned, a figure emerged tall, robed in threads of gold and silver that shifted like sunlight on water. In its hands, it carried a lantern unlike theirs. It was vast, almost as tall as the bearer, and inside it burned not a single flame, but 1,000 tiny lights drifting like fireflies in a gentle dance. "I am the lantern keeper," the figure said, its voice a chord of many voices, each one familiar in a different way, like hearing your own name spoken by someone you loved long ago. The keeper stepped closer, and the 1,000 flames inside its lantern leaned toward the bearer's single, silent flame. "You carry a seed," it said. "I carry the orchard. But an orchard grows only when the seed learns where it belongs." With a slow gesture, the keeper invited them to look into the great lantern. Inside, they saw entire landscapes, mountains crowned with dawn, cities woven from music, rivers that flowed upward into the stars. "These," the keeper explained, "are the worlds born from remembered truths. Each flame here was once a seed like yours, but the seed must choose to burn for more than itself." The bearers felt the weight of those words settle around them like a cloak, both comforting and impossible to ignore. "Come," the keeper said, turning toward a path of light that wound through the mist like a silver ribbon. "The next door is waiting, but you will not pass through it as you are now." The silver ribbon of light carried them to a clearing in the mist, where the ground shimmered as if made of polished moonstone. At its center stood a circle of stone pillars, each carved with patterns of flame, water, wind, and root symbols of all that breathes and endures. The lantern keeper stepped inside the circle, and 1,000 flames within its lantern rose in a spiral, swirling overhead like a galaxy of fire. The air trembled, not with heat, but with meaning. Your flame has survived storm, the keeper said, but to carry it forward, you must let it burn through you. One by one, the bearers stepped into the center. When the keeper touched their lantern, their flames leapt high, spilling light across the pillars. In that instant, each bearer saw visions paths they might walk, lives they might shape, and the ripples those choices would leave in the world. The youngest saw herself teaching strangers to light their own flames in places where night had forgotten the dawn. The eldest saw mountains split open to reveal rivers of gold, flowing not for greed, but for healing. Others saw smaller, quieter visions, a single act of kindness that would change the course of a life. When the last flame was touched, the 1,000 firelights descended, merging into the bearer's lantern. The silent flame within each now burned with a second, hidden color, one only visible to those ready to see it. The road of starlight wound upward until the mist fell away behind them like a lifted curtain. They stepped into a world where the air was so clear it felt newly born. The sky stretched in every direction without a single cloud, an endless canvas of blue and gold. Mountains rose like sleeping giants in the distance, their peaks kissed by sunlight. Fields of tall silver grass shimmered in the wind, whispering secrets to anyone who listened. For the first time in many days, the bearers saw the full sun. Its light was different from the flame, wilder and tame, but it seemed to bow to the fire they carried, as if recognizing a distant kinship. The silence here was not the hush of caution, but the quiet of space, room enough for every thought to unfold. The air smelled of warm stone, wildflowers, and something older, like the memory of the earth before footsteps touched it. They walked for hours, yet the horizon never seemed to draw closer. And then, at the crest of a hill, they saw it far away. Rising from the silver fields like a dream anchored in stone, a tower made of crystal, catching the sunlight and scattering it into 1,000 rainbows. The youngest bearer gripped her lantern tighter. "I think," she whispered, "that's where the flame wants to go." The wind stirred, carrying her words toward the tower, as if the land itself had heard and approved. The crystal tower stood majestic and still, its facets catching the sun and fracturing it into brilliant shards of color that danced like living things. As the flame bearers approached, the air shimmered with anticipation. The ground beneath their feet pulsed softly, as though the earth itself was breathing in time with their heartbeats. The tower's great doors opened without sound, revealing a hollow space filled with shifting light and shadow. Each step forward sent cascades of color spinning across the walls, painting stories of fire and silence, creation and loss. Inside, the bearers faced the prism trials, each a test of spirit and flame. One trial called for courage, reflecting fears they'd long buried. Another demanded compassion, forcing them to see the world through the eyes of others. Each challenge bent their light, breaking it into new hues, and as they overcame them, the silent flame within grew not just in brightness but in depth and complexity, no longer a single color, but a spectrum. At the heart of the tower awaited a final trial, a mirror that reflected not their faces, but their true selves, the intertwining of flame and shadow, light and silence. Only by embracing this reflection could the flame bearers unlock the next step of their journey, a step that promised to change not just their fate, but the fate of all who would follow their light. As the final mirror shimmered before them, each flame bearer stepped forward to face their reflection, not the face they wore, but the soul laid bare. The mirror did not judge or condemn. Instead, it revealed the dance within, the silent flame entwined with shadow, the quiet strength born from struggle, and the light that could only glow because darkness existed to shape it. For a moment, the room held its breath as understanding dawned. The flame was never meant to burn alone. Its true power was in balance, the harmony of contrasts, the melody composed of silence and sound. From the heart of the mirror, a light bloomed, soft and steady, washing over the bearers. It spoke without words, a promise and a charge to carry the flame not as conquerors, but as guardians, not as bringers of fire, but as keepers of its sacred silence. As the light faded, the tower hummed, and a new path opened, a bridge of crystalline light reaching beyond the horizon, beckoning them onward into the unknown. The journey was far from over, but now the flame within each bore the wisdom of refraction, shining in many colors, reflecting the infinite stories yet to be told. The bridge stretched before them like a thread of dawn, fragile yet impossibly strong, weaving light into the fabric of the sky. With steady hearts, the flame bearers stepped onto its radiant surface. Each footfall sent ripples of color dancing beneath their feet, as if the bridge remembered every step and every story that had led them here. Below, the world dissolved into shimmering mist, and above, the endless sky beckoned with whispers of secrets not yet spoken. As they moved forward, the air grew lighter, filled with the scent of new beginnings, wildflowers blooming in places untouched, rivers singing songs yet unsung. At the bridge's end, they saw a realm unlike any they had known, where mountains floated like clouds, where trees reached toward stars, and where time itself seemed to ripple and fold like a living tapestry. Here, the silent flame would face its greatest test, not of fire or shadow, but of existence itself. The journey had become a passage between worlds, and the flame bearers were no longer travelers, they were weavers of light and shadow, keepers of stories that bridged what was, what is, and what might yet be. Stepping off the crystalline bridge, the flame bearers found themselves in a place where reality shimmered and shifted like a living dream. The ground beneath their feet was soft, a mosaic of glowing stones that pulsed with a gentle rhythm like a heartbeat echoing through the land. Trees with leaves like glass chimed softly in the breeze, and distant mountains floated lazily among clouds that glowed with starlight. Voices, both familiar and strange, drifted through the air, whispers of forgotten hopes and unspoken fears. Here, time was fluid, bending and folding, allowing past, present, and future to mingle in a delicate dance. The silent flame within each bearer flickered in response, growing warmer, more vibrant, as if recognizing the magic woven into this realm. As the flame bearers ventured deeper into the shifting realm, the shimmering stones beneath their feet began to hum softly, weaving a melody that seemed both ancient and alive. From the swirling mist emerged a figure cloaked in layers of translucent fabric that rippled like water. Their eyes held the depth of endless sky, and their voice was a gentle echo, half heard, half remembered. "I am the whisperer of echoes," the figure said, their words floating like leaves on the breeze. "This realm listens to all who walk its path, their hopes, fears, and the silent songs of their hearts." The whisperer's presence was both comforting and unsettling, as if they existed between the spaces of thought and dream. "You carry a flame born of silence and light, a rare harmony," the whisperer continued. "But here, you must learn to hear not only your own echo, but the echoes of the world around you." With a sweeping gesture, the whisperer summoned visions, fragments of stories, lost memory, and paths untaken, revealing that every choice in this realm rippled outward, shaping realities seen and unseen. To move forward, they said, you must listen deeply. Not just with your ears, but with your flame. Under the whisperer of Echo's guidance, the flame bearers began to explore the realm in a new way, not through sight alone, but through the quiet language spoken by their flame. Each silent flame, once just a steady light, now pulsed with subtle rhythms and hues, responding to the whispers hidden in the air. The bearers closed their eyes, letting the flickers guide their senses beyond the physical. They heard the faintest murmur of a forgotten song carried by the wind, the gentle sigh of a story longing to be told, and the tender pulse of hope nestled in the heart of the realm. Yet, listening so deeply was not without peril. Shadows, manifestations of doubt and fear slithered along the edges of their awareness, attempting to drown the flame in silence. The bearers learned to weave light and silence, strengthening their inner flame to cut through the creeping dark. With every challenge, their flames grew brighter, colors blending into a vibrant spectrum of understanding. In this place where thought and feeling intertwined, the silent flame became a voice, a beacon that spoke not just to the world, but to the very essence of being. The Whisperer led the flame bearers to a vast clearing, where three paths unfurled beneath the endless sky, each shimmering with a distinct light and sound. This is the crossroads of becoming, the Whisperer said softly. Each path will shape not only your journey, but the very nature of your flame. The first path glowed with steady gold, promising strength and resilience through trial. The second shimmered in soft blues, a road of understanding and empathy, where silence spoke louder than words. The third sparkled with shifting colors, a challenge of transformation and the unknown.